Hello students. Today we are going to continue with the parts of the fermenter or fermentation equipments, and we will also study antifoam agents. So yesterday we discussed about various parts of a fermenter like aeration device, that is air sparger, agitation device, that is agitator or impeller. Then we discussed about a sampling point, inoculum point. Now today we are going to discuss further about pH control device. Now every organism which is used for fermentation procedure has a specific pH which is required for its optimum growth and which is required for optimum synthesis of product. Okay, any change in the pH, either increase in pH or decrease in pH, will adversely affect the growth of the organism as well as it will adversely affect the product yield. Okay, so pH control is very important. So pH controlling device checks the pH of the medium at specific intervals of time and adjusts the pH to the optimum level by adding the acid or alkali. Maintaining pH to optimum level is very important for the growth of organism as well as to obtain a desired product in high yield. Okay, so how do we control the pH? By addition of acid or alkali, which is controlled by an auto titrator. Okay, the auto titrator is in turn connected to a pH probe. The pH probe or a pH sensor continuously monitors the pH of the medium present inside the fermenter. As soon as there is any fluctuation in pH, that is there is rise in pH or decrease in pH, then the auto titrator will automatically add acid or alkali and maintain the pH to its optimum. Now, pH control can also be accomplished by withdrawing samples from the fermenter manually during the course of the fermentation, and after manual collection the pH is checked, and if there is any change in the pH, acid or alkali is added to control the pH. So all in all, pH control device checks the pH, controls the pH to the optimum to get good yield of product by adding acid or alkali. Now, another important factor is temperature control. See, every organism has a typical or optimum temperature that is required for growth. Okay, but various growth activities of the organism, various metabolic activities of the organism leads to rise in temperature. So, a temperature controlling device is essential. Now, temperature control device generally consists of a thermometer, cooling coils or jackets around the fermenter. During fermentation process, various reactions takes place in the fermenter. Heat is generated. Heat is released in the fermentation medium. When you start the fermentation, you sterilize the medium. So, in the beginning also the medium is hot. This increase in temperature is detrimental for the growth of microorganism and it may slow down the fermentation process. So it is necessary to control the rise in temperature. How do we control the rise in temperature? It can be controlled by spraying cold water on the outer wall of the fermenter vessel. Okay, so we can spray cold water, or cool water is circulated through the coils that are present in the fermenter, or a jacket wall is present. Jackets are present around the fermenter through which cold water is circulated. Okay, so temperature is controlled by circulating cold water through the coils or by circulating cold water through the jackets that are present around the fermenter or by spraying cold water. Sometimes the temperature may decrease and we need to increase the temperature. So if you want to increase the temperature, then hot water is circulated through the coils. Okay. Oxygen transfer is another important aspect. Okay. Now majority of the fermentations are aerobic. So a continuous supply of oxygen is very important for any aerobic process. So oxygen demand is generally satisfied by aerating and agitating the fermented broth. So the productivity of a fermentation depends upon oxygen transfer. If it is if the process is aerobic, continuous supply of oxygen should be there. If there is break in oxygen supply, the organism may face anaerobic condition, and ultimately the productivity will be less product yield will be obtained. How do we bring about oxygen transfer? By aeration, passing air through the sparger. Okay, and agitation. So after aeration, agitation is also important, because agitator mixes the air or gas throughout the bulk of the fermentation medium, maintaining aerobic condition. Okay, so oxygen is normally supplied in the form of air, because it is the cheapest source of oxygen gas. How air is supplied depends upon the quantity or volume of the fermentation process. In laboratory scale, we use, when you are carrying out fermentation procedure in laboratory scale or testing the fermentation, then we generally use shake flask. The shake flask are directly kept in the equipments like incubator, which are called as shaking incubator. So there is continuously shaking, so aeration agitation takes place by using shake flask. Okay, in pilot plant fermenter or industrial scale fermenter, we have a agitation and aeration device, or that is sparger and agitators are provided for proper mixing of air and for aeration. Okay, there are certain fermenters like airlift fermenter or bubble column fermenter, where supply of oxygen is obtained without agitation, okay, by gas transfer. Now, the transfer of oxygen from air to cell means microorganism. So, transfer of oxygen, because you have supplied air. So, oxygen present in the air is transferred to the cell. How? First, the oxygen from the air bubbles enter into the liquid fermentation medium. The transfer of the dissolved oxygen from the medium then goes to the microbial cell, and the dissolved oxygen is taken up by the cell. This is how oxygen requirement is fulfilled. Okay. Now, one more important aspect is foam controlling device. Foam controlling device is placed at the top of the fermenter, okay, outside the lid, with the inlet into the fermenter. There is a foam controlling device which is filled with anti-foam agent, which is having an inlet inside the fermenter. This device contains a small tank which contains anti-foam agent. So a foam controlling device is a small tank containing anti-foam agent placed outside the fermentation vessel, having a pipe inlet inside the vessel. A foam is generated during the course of fermentation, and it is necessary to remove the foam or neutralize the foam with the help of anti-foam agents. Otherwise, the media may spill out of the fermenter and lead to contamination and also a mess. Okay, so foam controlling device is a tank containing anti-foam agent which is added into the fermentation medium to check the foam, to control the foam, because if foam is not controlled, it will spill out of the fermentation vessel and will cause contamination problem. Let us discuss anti-foam agent in detail. Okay, before that, one more important part of the fermenter is bottom drainage system. It is the main outlet pipe. It is an aseptic outlet present at the bottom of the fermenter to remove the fermented media which contains the product. Okay, so once the fermentation is over, the whole lot of fermented broth is collected through the bottom drainage system. It is the main outlet pipe. So from where we collect the fermented broth and harvest the product that is present inside it. Okay, now let us discuss anti-foam agents in detail. Whenever we carry out aerobic fermentation, we bring about aeration and agitation. Pass air under pressure through the sparger and agitator having a rod with impellers will move at a rapid speed, and this leads to foam formation. Especially if your medium contains proteins or peptides, excessive amount of foam is formed. But if your medium contains only sugars, foam formation is not a major issue. Foam formation is a major issue if your medium contains proteins or peptides, right? So a lot of foam is formed. At the same time, proteolytic bacteria present there again pose a serious problem. The foam that is formed because of protein or peptide is very stable. It does not break automatically. So a lot of foam is generated at the top of the fermentation medium. It is necessary to control this foam, because if you want to carry out the fermentation in proper manner, this foam needs to be controlled, because during agitation and aeration the foam may rise into the head space, extreme top level of the fermenter vessel, and along with spent gases, along with spent air, it will expel out of the fermentation tank. Okay, so when spent gases are escaping out of the fermentation tank, the foam that is created may also spill out, and if the foam after cooling comes back into the vessel, it will bring outside microorganism and will cause contamination problem. Okay, so if foam is not controlled, it will rise in the headspace of the tank and it will be forced out from the tank along with spent air. Just remember or just try to recollect when your pressure cooker, sometimes if there is more water inside, okay, during when the pressure cooker's whistle blows and the spent air comes out, along with the air the liquid that is present inside the pressure cooker also spills out. Okay, so it creates a mess. Same is the case with fermentation procedures. If too much of foam is present inside, it will come out along with the spent gases. Okay, and if this foam again goes back into the vessel, it will cause contamination. This may lead to contamination of fermentation medium from the organisms that is picked up by the breaking of some of the foam, which again drains back into the tank. Okay, so the foam sometimes breaks, comes back into the tank and brings outside microorganism and cause contamination problem. Sometimes if excessive or in extreme cases, considerable amount of medium is lost, because along with the foam the medium will also spill out of the vessel and it will cause loss of medium as well as loss of microorganisms. Okay, and one more problem is if there is excessive amount of foam, then aeration is limited. Okay, oxygen transfer to the whole lot of medium and microorganism becomes inefficient, right? So hence it is necessary to control the foam. How do we control the foam? By adding antifoam agents. What do antifoam agents do? They lower the surface tension of the bubbles. They decrease the stability of the foam bubble and the foam bubbles burst. Okay, so antifoam agent lower the surface tension of the foam bubbles. They decrease the stability of the foam bubbles and the bubbles burst. This is how foam formation is controlled. There are two types of antifoam agents that are generally used. Number one, inert antifoam agents. Number two, crude antifoam agents that are made from crude organic materials. Inert antifoam, sometimes long chain alcohols like octadecanol are also used. We also use a mixture of oil and octadecanol. Say for example in penicillin production, we use lard oil plus octadecanol as antifoam agent. Okay, now if you look at inert antifoam agents are the best antifoam agents. They are non-toxic, okay, but they are very, very expensive. Okay, inert antifoam agents are the best. They are not toxic. Okay, they are not viscous also, so they can be added into the fermentation medium before sterilization and it is sterilized along with the medium. They are not toxic also, so overdosing is not a problem, but they are very expensive and hence they cannot be used for large scale fermentation process. So inert antifoam agents are used when you are studying a new fermentation process in a laboratory or when you are carrying out a research program or studying a fermentation process. Okay. The best example of inert antifoam agents is silicon compounds. Now the second class is crude antifoam agents. They cannot be added to the medium before sterilization. Number one, they are oily in nature, they are viscous in nature, so it is very difficult to sterilize them. So the best thing is we sterilize the crude antifoam agent separately first, and then the sterile antifoam agent is added into the fermented broth. Crude antifoam agents are viscous, as I told you, and they have to be separately sterilized first. Right. Then crude antifoam agents, the best example is vegetable oils and animal oil. Animal oil like lard oil, vegetable oils like corn oil, soybean oil, and other alcohols like octadecanol can be used as antifoam agent, or a mixture of oil and alcohol can also be used. Now, crude antifoam agents are toxic, and hence they have to be added in a definite limited amount, whatever amount is required. They cannot be added in excess because they are toxic. But because crude antifoam agents are cheaper, they are used for large scale production. So excessive addition needs to be checked because they are toxic. Okay, sometimes they also serve as source of nutrition because they contain fatty acids, and some microorganisms use antifoam agents as a source of lipids or fatty acids. Now, how do we add them? They can be added either manually or electrically. Okay. Manual addition requires continuous observation. One one personnel needs to be continuously checking whether foam formation takes place, and if foam formation is there, it is to be added. But we need to carefully and continuously monitor the process. So we prefer we prefer using electrical addition of antifoam agents because it requires less attention, little attention. As soon as foam is formed, automatically the antifoam agent is added into the vessel. Okay, so that is all about various equipments and antifoam agents.